I just came back from seeing Spider-Man Homecoming, and this movie is fantastic. Wonderful, amazing, spectacular, sensational, whatever you want to call it. It is a masterpiece. And yes, I am a Marvel fan. Spider-Man, favorite superhero. I mean, like a lot of people. So I'm trying not to be biased or anything. And well, shoot, you know I'm not gonna be biased because I really didn't like the Amazing Spider-Man movies. The first one was better than the second one, but there were some things in the second one I thought that they got right. And the first one, there's a lot of things I didn't like about it. And then there were some moments that I really liked. They did some stuff really well. It was like you just took Spider-Man right off the pages of the comic book and put him into a movie. But this one was fantastic. And I have to say, the Sam Raimi movies, especially the first two, were great, especially for the time that they came out. And we didn't know what to expect from superhero movies. We didn't know we would get them and they would be sharing a universe with other superheroes and stuff like that. But this one is probably my favorite Spider-Man movie. And that's saying a lot. It's going to be kind of hard to beat Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1 and 2, which I like almost the same. A lot of people feel like 2 was the best superhero movie of all time. Some feel like it was the best Spider-Man movie of all time. And I can agree with them. I can see why you think that. But this one did so many things right. And it was a blend of so many different things, like past, present, and all in between of Spider-Man comics, Ultimate Universe, the original universe, and they just mixed so many things in both Ultimate Spider-Mans. The Miles Morales, who's in the original universe now, and the Peter Parker from the Ultimate Universe. They took a lot of different things and mixed them together. Anyway, this will be a spoiler review, slight spoilers. I don't want to give away everything, but I do want to talk about some things. So if you didn't see the movie, don't watch this. Please, I'm not going to give away a lot, but there's going to be some stuff, and I might let some other things slip just because I might get excited and want to talk about it. First and foremost, the movie starts off really good. It takes place right after that Battle of New York from Avengers, and they're focusing on Adrian Toomes, who becomes the Vulture. Michael Keaton gets a standing ovation in my book for this movie. I mean, the guy can do no wrong. Look, he has range. If you ever seen Mr. Mom, Batman, of course, Night Shift, Beetlejuice, the dude has range. He can play a lot of different characters. Extreme Measures, he was a bad guy in that. I remember he was menacing in that. And there's shades of all of that in this movie. I mean, he's playing a guy who you can relate to, you understand, you like, dude, I feel you. But at the same time, he went overboard sometimes, and it was like kind of, well, I'm doing this for my family, or I let my emotions get the best of me. But you know, he was doing some stuff for like 8 years without getting caught. He was really careful with what he was doing. And then Spider-Man comes along and ruins everything for him. Now everybody knows who he is. He got the FBI, he got Iron Man knowing who he is. If you've seen any of those TV spots or those clips where it shows like Peter when he was recording stuff during Civil War, when he was at the airport battle, and some stuff afterwards, that stuff's in this movie. And I was hoping it was. I hope it wasn't just stuff they were using to promote it. It was in the movie, and it works really well. A lot of people talk about how much they like Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Well, me personally, I always thought Tobey Maguire was a really good Peter Parker, and he was a really good Spider-Man, but better Peter Parker. And when I saw Andrew Garfield, I thought he was a better Spider-Man than he was Peter Parker. Like when he was Parker, he just walked around like always in a daze or looking high. I mean, you know, it didn't seem right. You know what I mean? When he was in school, take a look at those films again. You'll see what I mean. Especially the first one, because that's the only one he was really in high school in. But I would have to say Tobey Maguire was better Parker. Andrew Garfield was a better Spider-Man. I like the blend of Tom Holland as Spider-Man and Parker. There were some moments where he was showing his intellect or his book smarts, and then there were some moments where he just was like down and out, and he was, you know, like he was a bookworm in the comics, and he got picked on for being, you know, very smart and being into his schoolwork, smiling while he's working. And in this, he didn't really get picked on too much, except for Flash. Now, Flash was very different than he is from the comics or cartoons and stuff like that. He didn't really want to beat Parker up and bully him too hard, just like he kind of just picked on him. Flash was cool for what it was. Like I said, they took different versions of everything from the comics, and they just mixed it together. Like his best friend is Ned, who looks like Gunk from Miles Morales' storyline in the Ultimate Universe, but his name is Ned. Ned Leeds is a character who was Peter's competition with his first girlfriend, or the first girl he really dated in the comics, who is Betty Brant, who's in this movie. There is no Daily Bugle, but Betty Brant worked for the school's like news channel or something like that, And I thought that was kind of cool. You know what I mean? Working for the Daily Bugle, working for the school news, hey, it works. Betty Brant's got blonde hair this time around instead of her dark hair. She's not a brunette. Whatever. But it all worked. They mixed a whole bunch of stuff together. Now, the Vulture, Michael Keaton is the Vulture. He was menacing. I like his suit. It looked good. It worked good. I was excited to see the Vulture. I would be excited to see people like Mysterio. You can do some really crazy effects, and he has all these tricks, and he can, like, you know, you don't know what's real, you don't know what's not real. Sometimes he's tall, he has aliens coming down. He could just make things really trippy, and it would be fun to see. But I like Vulture. It was like the second villain Spider-Man ever faced. First the Chameleon, then the Vulture. And he actually beat Spider-Man in their first, meeting together. The villain in this was memorable, and it's one thing that happened in this movie, and this is a spoiler because, you're going to know the fate of the Vulture. But he didn't die. I hated, ever since I've seen that first Batman from Tim Burton in 1989, I hated that they kill off villains. When the Joker died, it's like, wow, he's dead. Wow. I mean, you didn't know back in 1989. I was really, really young. But you didn't know if you want to see a sequel or more movies. But when you did, you were kind of bummed because you're like, well, we'll never see the Joker again because he's dead. I hate it when they did that in movies. In comics, they hardly ever kill off any villains because they come back and back again, and that's how we get more depth into them, and that's when we get more stories, and we learn to love them so much. A little dehydrated, still excited. But anyway, like I said, this movie works good. Peter Parker in school with his friends. Peter Parker as Spider-Man in his suit. Now let me talk about that suit. That suit is very high tech. Yes, it has AI. He unlocked something in it that took off the training wheels program, and he has like 500 different types of webs. His AI talks to him. It has this night vision. It can scan. Has a little drone that comes out of his chest, and that can keep track of stuff. He can talk to it. It can help him out. It can guide his actions. It's crazy. But if it was invented by Tony Stark, I would expect it to be like that. Some people were saying it was like a spin on an Iron Spider suit. Just wait. Just wait. There might be another suit in here that's more like that. But anyway, the thing is, a lot of people were upset because in the previews they're saying, we're seeing too much of the movie. Now I know he gets the suit taken away. I kind of like that he got the suit taken away because he had to rely on just being him. Spider-Man using his abilities. He got used to the suit. There's an interesting spin they put on that, especially since Tony Stark and Spider-Man had this relationship just like they had in the comics right before Civil War started. So Starks had Parker working for him. He created the Iron Spider suit, and it's a relation. It happened in the comics, so I mean it's justifiable here that would happen in the movies. Now, Spider Sense. I heard some people talking about Spider Sense, like, yo, are they going to show his Spider Sense? Does he have it? Does he not have it? Well, in Civil War he does, because when Bucky, aka the Winter Soldier, threw that door at him, he sensed it coming without even looking. He's like, oh God, his eyes open wide, he ducked and then he threw it back. Hey buddy, I think you lost this. So I mean, I'm pretty sure he has Spider Sense. Maybe they just didn't focus on that. And that's what this movie did. I have to give credit to John Watts. He did a lot of things right in this movie. This guy can really direct, or he just really knows Spider-Man. I heard he was a fan of comics, especially Spider-Man. So this works really well. This movie just was so good. But I have to give credit to him, because one thing he did in this was he didn't focus on all the things we saw in the previous Spider-Man films. The Amazing Spider-Man and the first series of Spider-Man films from Sam Raimi. Like, there wasn't a lot of web swinging through New York. I mean, I always enjoy that, but he did a lot of web swinging in neighborhoods, some in the city, but it wasn't a lot because they focused on that a lot in all of the movies. They didn't really show him go too many other different places. And here at one point, he's trying to web swing into the city, and he gets into this field, and there's no tall buildings, no trees, no light poles or anything. And he's just like, and he has to run. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that happened in the comics quite a few times. They showed him doing things like having to run across rooftops in neighborhoods and having to track down people in cars where he had to ride a car himself, drive a car himself, because there really was no tall buildings. Or he didn't have enough web fluid. I think I really enjoyed this film more than all the other Spider-Man films. But at a different time, the Sam Raimi films was the pinnacle of what I wanted to see from a superhero movie, because he's my favorite superhero, and it was done so well. I think it's just, that was great for that time. For right now, this movie is great for now. You know what I mean? I mean, it was a very diverse cast. Everybody did their thing. I have to talk about this. there was rumors that Zendaya was playing Mary Jane Watson. Everybody was wondering who she's gonna play. She's really popular right now, so they was like, she's got to play somebody popular in this movie. And I made a video and I was like, oh, she said she's playing Mary Jane Watson. It's been confirmed. People used to hit me up and they were like, she's not playing Mary Jane. She's playing somebody named Michelle. I was thinking, hey, maybe it's a rumor, but maybe they just trying to cover it up. They don't want her to be known as Mary Jane. Well, they did cover some stuff up in here because there are last names that's not given in here that if it was, it would make a lot of sense when you see this film and certain things that happen. Even in the credits, they didn't show last name. It just said Liz. It just said Michelle. It just said Ned. They didn't give last names. And that might be something that they're holding on to for future movies. Maybe we're going to find out some people are related to people who are important in Peter's life in the comics and stuff like that. But by the end of the movie, Michelle tells everybody, my friends call me MJ. So she is playing MJ, a different version of the MJ, who isn't Mary Jane, but Michelle. Everything with Peter and Aunt May worked over pretty well. They did discuss how he got his powers. He told Ned. And they didn't do no flashbacks. They didn't have to. But it was pretty cool. They didn't say exactly what happened to the spider, to the point where it gave Peter his abilities. All he knows is he got bit by the spider and the spiders did, and he has spider powers. We all know how he got his powers, and even if you don't know how he got his powers, oh well, he's Spider-Man, he's a superhero. You don't need to know every goddamn thing. How Tony Stark gets so smart. It's hereditary because his dad was a genius too. Well, geez, if that's the case, we all should be geniuses, right? Anyway, I think this film deserves, I don't know what kind of grading system I want to, give the films when I grade them. I do all different ones. I'm going to say it gets an A from me. 4.5 stars out of 5. It gets a 9 out of 10. It was great. And there was room for improvement. There's room for improvement in most movies. Sometimes we do get movies where we say, oh no, I had no problems at all. And I didn't really necessarily have problems with this film. I just think some stuff could have been handled better. But I really can't really think of anything that I hated about the film, or I really was just like, oh no, I can't believe they did that. They did so much right that if there's something in here that I didn't like, I didn't mind it. That's my review for Spider-Man Homecoming. I tried to make it short. This was still kind of long. But if you like the video, share and subscribe, and I will see you next time.